Hey everyone, Joe from the Llama Leadership Team here. In this episode, Scott and I had the privilege of chatting with Chad Hardesty and Jason Barnshaw, two of the four active duty airmen behind Air Force Quarantine University. We discussed how QU has delivered a platform to strengthen community and to share growth opportunities during this time of crisis. We apologize, as during this podcast, we did experience some technical difficulties, but hope you find value in it regardless. Without further ado, enjoy.
Life, learning, leadership, the Llama Lounge.
Yo, welcome to the Llama Lounge, a dialogue on life, learning, and leadership. This is Joe Bogdan. I have with me one of my best friends in the whole world, Scott Green. What's up, Scott?
Hey, Joe. How you doing, bud?
Good, brother. Good, brother. You hanging in there?
How are things? I'm good. How are things in California?
It's beautiful and sunny today, so it's pretty cool.
Keep rubbing that in. I appreciate it.
So Scott, man, we have some very special guests today, don't we?
It's amazing. We're on our second episode, and we're already attracting rock stars to the show. It's pretty cool.
For sure. So we have today two members of the team behind the Air Force Quarantine University. We have Chad Hardesty and Jason Barnshaw. What's up, brothers?
Hey, what's going on? How you guys doing today?
Good. Thanks for being on here.
Going on, and then look, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Like, if you're talking about a rock star, you must be talking about Chad because you haven't had a my wife.
That's what's up. So man, I gotta tell you guys, when I first started chatting with you and I saw your names, I thought you guys had like some of the dopest names when put together. I thought, man, okay, so you guys have names that would fit in an old Western outlaw movie, like the Hardesty Barnshaw gang, right? Some rugged names, right?
Joe, we sound like a law firm. We're like Bogdan and Green.
Yeah, I know, right? So there's a little bit of a dichotomy there, but we'll make it work, right? So first off, man, let me brag on you guys for a little bit, because just a few times that I've chatted with you, you guys are extremely humble about this thing you've created. So I would just prepare to be a little bit uncomfortable for a little bit, okay? So for our listeners that do not know what Air Force Quarantine University is, it's a grassroots movement that started from Edwards Air Force Base in response to the new normal that COVID-19 brought to us. It's a Facebook group that presents a platform that gathers subject matter experts, provides seminars, presentations, quick food for thought, and a sharing platform for its almost 18,000 members, and is growing at an astounding rate. In a time when we are sheltered at home and exercising recommended physical distancing, this movement has provided an amazing professional personal development platform for our Big A airmen. And like any successful movement, whether organically created like this one or generated from the top down, superb leadership is needed to make it happen. And you two, along with Ian Aishin and Erica Fabian Guzman, have absolutely led the way. So kudos to you and the entire team. I know I am personally addicted to QU.
Oh yeah.
No, man, that is some phenomenal stuff. And I think when you think about our team and the things that we had going on, it's really the community. All we do is we organize, we facilitate, and we try to guide people the best way possible. I think the most I've done for QU is tell people, hey, just make sure you hit the live button. Hit the live button.
That's important, right? Could have saved the whole day.
That is vital. So no, man, we really just, like you said, it was a grassroots movement. We were looking for ways to brainstorm, and with everybody teleworking and everybody being quarantined, I'm in California as well. So, being at the shelter in home, not having much to do and still trying to get to work and show face, we had the ability to leverage airmen, whether it's Big A, civilians across the world. It's a phenomenal thing to see. And, it really comes down to, it's not what you do, it's why you're doing it. And I think the community has bought in exactly why we're doing it. Like you said, we're very humble about it. We're just happy that the Air Force has bought in, and it's just amazing to see.
So tell us a little bit, guys, how, where did it all come about? It just, to me, when I first saw it, and I looked at it and I saw like, hey, there's 15,000 followers. Oh, there's 16,000 followers. I'm like, this thing just happened overnight. So where did it start with you guys? Like, what were the initial discussions on getting this off the ground?
So initial discussion. So I'm pretty sure with every base things are shutting down, and me and Chief Aishan, we love the dining facility. The food is amazing. I don't know if it's the same everywhere.
Yo, you just hit Scott in the heart right there, man. He's a little nutritional medicine guy. He loves the dining facility.
So we're having a conversation with our airman leadership cadre, and we're trying to figure out, hey, what are you guys thinking? And Chief Barnshaw was very vital back at Dover Air Force Base a couple years ago in creating a wingman university.
Yeah.
And it was really a college template where, you get a bunch of instructors and you pretty much teach anything from resiliency to, hey, I got stressed and I want you to pet a puppy. And I was like, hey, Chief, I was like, Wingman University sounds pretty good. He was like, Quarantine University.
There you go.
I was like, I love it. And I was like, but you got to put an AF in front of it. We got to give it some little bit of spice. Shout out to Wingman Outreach, because that's where I thought about it. And, from there, we spent a couple of days. Chief reached out to a couple people to design some templates. And, we came in on a Tuesday morning. We had 3 hours of blank schedule. And we were like, you know what? We're going to make this a thing. And I was like, if we could get 12 airmen to maybe 100, like that would be awesome. And little did you know, the next morning, between me, Chief Barnshaw, and Fabian Guzman, within those first 3 hours, we built our team. And then every day we just been sending gifts like, oh my gosh, 1,000.
Yeah, no kidding.
So that's really how it started.
That's fantastic. It's we've been trying to do the Facebook thing for a while. And we're excited because we just hit 1,000 likes on our page, and our page has been up for a year and a half. And so we were like, so that's why for me personally, I've been retired for about 4.5, almost 5 years now, and so I love things like the Quarantine University, because it's, for me as a civilian retiree guy, it's a way I can still connect with my airman brotherhood. I'm not in a military town, so to speak. We have a Navy base and there's an Army depot here, but it's not a big like Air Force community that I love, that I grew up in. And so I'm seeing familiar faces like Joanne Bass, and I'm seeing Joe Bogdan post stuff, and I'm seeing Todd Simmons and all these great guys that I've known and got to meet over the years. And so it's a great way for me personally as a retiree veteran to still stay connected. And what I also noticed about the page too is it's reaching beyond just military, because I'm seeing civilian folks jumping in and tapping in on that. So what do you think it's becoming so successful?
So for me, I think it's again, you guys hit on it from the beginning of the talk, is we are in a new norm, right? And in this norm with telenetworking and trying to build a connectedness, a lot of people are doing is they're finding their voices. And I think the organic nature of this page really kind of broadcasted it open, and anybody can contribute. I think people are starting to really understand the value of their voice, and that they have something to bring to the table, right? Which is why you have all these people that have bought in that may typically not have a voice, or may not feel like they have a voice, right? I mean, we've had classes on brewing and creative planning and yoga.
Yeah.
These individuals that have these passions now have the ability to reach upwards of 18,000 people when normally they wouldn't, right? So it's very free flowing. It's very organic. There's a good feel to the page. Now, understandably, with that, there comes some risk, right? Because we are pretty, you never know what people. One of the things that we do is we really do try to provide as much oversight as we can. But I got to be honest with you, our interaction as far as that goes, as far as the oversight goes, has been very minimal, because just the members of Team QU just understand the intent and are just through with just nothing but good.
Right. I 100% agree on that one. And I think like something interesting is what you just hit on, Jason, is that you created a platform, you and your team, right? Created a platform where it's not just where we're offering developmental opportunities, but it's also helping people kind of live to their meaning right now, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because Scott and I were just talking about earlier that after all this is over, I mean, what's the mental health type issues that we're having, that are going to develop or developing right now, and PTSD amongst our providers and all that. But part of that is also us shacked up at home and not able to live our meaning, but you guys created a platform that allows us to do that still, right? And people might be like, okay, I'm sharing something for everybody and everybody gets something, but I also feel good because I was able to share something, right? So that's just amazing.
Yeah, it reminds me back when doing MRT, Master Resiliency Training, and we would talk about spiritual fitness, and we would talk about things that it's not always, for me, it's church. I love church, but for some people, it's about playing a guitar or painting or taking a walk in the park or whatever it is. Well, we can't really take a lot of walks in the park now, but it's about being able to let out your, yeah, it depends on what I can't hear in Corpus Christi, yeah. But it's really about exploring your creative side as well. And like Joe said, I think it gives everybody an opportunity to demonstrate what they're good at. And even if they're not good at it, it's a chance for them to just throw it out there, just see what happens, So it's I think for the mental health aspect of things, it's huge. It's a great platform.
And I think one thing to add on there is, the community, it's really a way to surround yourself around people that are going to encourage you to do exactly that. You're throwing a dart out there, you're seeing if it sticks, and everybody in the QU community, they're having fun, they're positive, they're encouraging. You're having that network. You're seeing a 30 to 45-minute class, and you're going back and seeing 500-600 comments.
Right.
Yes.
People having dialogue and saying, you know what, like I want to continue this. There's some classes where people are like, hey, I created a Zoom. Let's jump on there and just continue the dialogue. I mean, it's amazing to see, man. The encouragement piece is like you said, when this dies down, those connections, they don't die.
Yeah, it's great because Joe and I were having a conversation about this before about how, so in this new norm that we're in, really there are no rules. I mean, there are rules, obviously, we don't break any laws.
One rule.
There's no, keep your shirt on. No, there are no rules. Like, you know what? Go do it. Go, there's that meme out there like, okay, after COVID-19, everyone's trying to be a rapper, a podcaster, a DJ, But you know what? Hey, have fun with it, right? Yeah. And there are a lot of different, I'll say, Air Force related pages out there that promote just negative, and they're focusing on the negative things that are going on and attacking this and attacking that. And so when Joe forwarded me, hey, have you seen this page? And I was like, not another one of these pages, right? But when I looked at it, I was like, oh, actually, this is pretty good because after a while, we're done. There's enough negative stuff on the news, right? You're going to get the daily reports and all that stuff. There's going to be things that we are going to hear just by that we have to hear. But it's so good to see so many people just on board, promoting it and really supporting each other. So like you were mentioning, that when you see that dialogue in the comment section, it's positive and reinforcing. It's not like, who's this idiot? What are they thinking? They're a fool. It's all good positive. So.
And I think that's really what we're capturing and what we're seeing from the community. And I don't think any of us expected it to be this way. I mean, I think we all hoped, right? But like you said, there's so much negativity out there. In a world that kind of profits off of negativity, I think it's refreshing to see this. And I think that's another draw to the page is that people can come here, like you said, and try things out and know that they're going to get support and encouragement from it.
Yeah.
So let me ask you guys, this thing evolved quickly. I mean, it escalated rapidly, right? And then I've seen
it was like a virus.
I know, right? So I'm sitting here, a good one, man. So I was sitting here thinking I've seen some wild stuff on there. I mean, it's all been goodness, but some unique classes, right? What has been some of the things that have surprised you the most that has popped up on your page?
So look, Chad, I'm sorry, I'm gonna trump this right now. The one most off guard that was when and I can't remember his name, so forgive me, but when the gentleman from the Wounded Warrior got on there and put on his own concert, to where he trumpets and he reached down and grabbed the phone and he started singing, and I was like, holy smokes, I was like, check our page. I was like, there's a dude putting a concert. And it was just it threw me off. And then again, you see the support from it, and I was like, this is absolutely awesome, and it's exactly the intent for the page.
Blew you away.
How about you, Chad? What surprised you the most?
Ah, man, he's probably right. I hate to echo I hate to echo him, but it's funny because I literally got probably 4 or 5 messages that were like, "Why didn't you tell me you was putting on a concert on QU?" And I was like, what? And then Chief Bison texted me. He's like, did you schedule a concert and not tell me? So I mean, I think outside of that one, brewing beer was a pretty cool one. I love that.
Yeah.
The creative planning, I suck at planning.
That was
awesome. My wife does all the calendars and things like that, so I love that one as well. So I think the concert though, that was just insane, and it was thrown off guard because we didn't expect it.
Yeah.
And it's perfect for what people need right now. I mean, I got a good friend of mine who the guy that did the music for our intro to the podcast, and him and his wife, they're musicians, and so a couple weeks ago, like when this all first started happening, they did a Facebook Live event, and people were requesting songs as if they were out at a club or whatever, and people were like, "Freebird," and he's like, "I'm not playing Freebird," but it's when we can't get together, it's a great way to get together. You know what I mean? And so it's just I think I'm glad Joe showed it to me because like I said, Joe does all kinds of stuff to me. Hey, have you read this? Have you seen this? And I'm like, Joe, not anymore. But then when I saw this webpage, I was like, oh, this is some good stuff. And I've jumped on there a few times and listened to some of the talks and hear Joanne Bass get on some people about leadership, and it's good stuff to see. So with this said, right? So we're kind of in new territory now. I know for me, one of the things I always love professional development. I love PME. I love being away for 2 months to go to school somewhere. Does this change? Do you think the way we're doing things now, do you think it's going to impact PME and professional development?
So I know for me, I don't necessarily impact the way we conduct PME. Me and Chad both have PME backgrounds. We were up at the Dover Airman Leadership School together, and I don't necessarily think that it's going to impact that. I think what you're gonna see the impact come from is kind of the grassroots internal squadron professional development. I think is what you're gonna.
Okay.
And I simply say that because I think one of the really good pieces of Quarantine University is that we look at leadership and development, professional development, personal development is kind of top down. And I think what we're learning now that's not at all. It can, bottom up. It can be here. It can be lateral. It can be top down. We have folks like Chief Simmons and stuff like that. I think what you're going to see more is outside of, getting away from your typical bullet writing and your typical improve your board score to, hey, man, what are some of the things you like to do that we can grow development piece of it? That way it doesn't have to be 99% always professional, that we can touch on some of this mental health kind of resiliency, kind of personal development side of the house.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's key. I mean, I don't know what the performance rating system looks like anymore. But we used to preach whole person concept, and there's a lot of advantage to that. But I think it's a way to continue a whole person concept without necessarily getting it on paper. But it's a great way to make sure it's taking place. Because if we're leading a squadron or a flight or whatever, we got people. We don't just have people who wear uniforms. We have people. We have people who come from all different backgrounds, all types of things that they're into, and it's a great way, I think, to keep them inspired and motivated by letting them be themselves.
Yes. And I think also one thing we have to look at, and I think Quarantine University has served as a test bed for how we are going to attack our classroom operations when we have another crisis like this. And I say because, I mean, it's going to happen again, whether it's we go into wartime status and we still have to incorporate PME, or whether, instead of Corona, it's Bud Light.
Right.
You know, like 20.
Mad Dog 2020.
Mad Dog 2020. You know, it's kind of teaching us how to be able to use Zoom and I say Zoom even though everybody's talking about the vulnerabilities. You know, these type platforms, these type of platforms to be able to say, hey, you know what, we can still do something virtual. You know, just like Chief Wright talked about. You know, people being able to do virtual NCOA and Barn Centers coming down and talking about doing virtual Airman leadership schools for the schools that still need to play catch up because you know reality is people are still promoting. We still got to build the future leaders of the Air Force. We still got to build our leaders laterally, and you know, and I think it's just really giving us a test bed on how to handle a situation going forward.
Well, like I said earlier, there are no rules, right? So you can be as creative as you want to be, and it just really demonstrates the adaptability of mankind. Not to be all philosophical or anything, but you know, if
that's the next podcast, that's the next one.
That's the next podcast. Yeah, stoicism, right? Is that
it?
No.
Broicism.
Yeah, broicism. But you could I mean, literally, you could either just sit back and go, oh, this is horrible, this stinks, or you can go, you know what? Let's try something different. And that's what's excited, I think, you know, Joe and I, because we're starting our podcast during all this, and so now we're all teleworking. Like, hey, we actually got time to focus on this now, so let's try it. Let's give it a shot. And that's the great thing. It's pretty risk free. You know what I mean? Like you can make the mistakes now, you can enjoy it while you're doing it, and then learn from it, and really figure out a way to make it adaptable to the future.
Yeah, you know, so talking about like just in general, right? Like, let me ask you guys something. So we're talking about professional development in general. So to me, we're living in a world where every minute is accounted for, right? And we don't necessarily have a time, you know, the time to even accomplish what we're tasked with, right? On a daily basis. Maybe right now some of us do, and it's an interesting dichotomy. Some people have more time and some people don't, right? But in my career field, let me use an example. We track every hour individual works, and this time is usually broken up into direct versus indirect labor times, right? So direct times like actually working on equipment, right? Actually mission impacting directly versus maybe repairing infrastructure and all that stuff versus indirect, which is like that training, that professional development and supervision and all that stuff. Now, I've worked for some bosses that they just want that direct time to go through the roof, right? They're not really interested in any of that indirect time. And maybe they're shooting that development down like directly, or they might be doing it indirectly by not supporting it, right? Just being open to not support it. What are your thoughts on how that impacts the organization, like in the long run?
So I'll roll. I was waiting on Chad. Look, trying to step, folks. So again, back to, I think a lot of times in especially leadership positions, right? It's mission. What we get evaluated, but you've seen an increase of EQ, make valued because we're understanding. You know, somebody who feels appreciated will always go that extra mile. And I think what this is doing is it's forcing our hands to connect with people in ways that we can't normally connect with them, or trying to get them to develop in ways that we normally can't, right? So those training on equipment hours, you know, right. Especially like, let's say for your squadron right now, probably taking a nosedive.
Right. Yep.
So how do we ensure that our people are still growing, even if it's just training virtual, right? That's a whole different perspective to things. And I think when you really take a look at it, you see a shift. We always knew technology was powerful. Now we're being forced to test how powerful it really is.
Mm-hmm.
You see a lot of the times is, you know, when we talk about personal and professional, yeah, they're one and the same, but they're also different. So I can train you professionally on equipment all day long, and those are skills, right? Those are something you to sit down and have conversations like this on a podcast. That's more of a personal. That's a character.
Right.
Developing your character to where skills are something you have, character is something you are. So
yeah.
A lot of young airmen, and even middle tier NCOs, and probably some old crusty chiefs like us, man. We're going to be better people, and better people will always equate to a better airman, and being better will always equate to a better organization.
Yeah, that was amazing. Yeah, spot on.
Yeah, go ahead, Chad.
Nah, I think for me it just comes down to you know, you used one little buzzword that I loved was manage, and for me it just follows with energy and time. It's no different than directly managing your energy and your time in the workplace. Now I'm managing that energy and time and Zooming my folks, sending a text message, sending emails, maybe having them do leadership discussions or teaching classes through some of these platforms. It goes back to staying connected. You just aren't a senior airman, a staff, a chief, or a section chief, a superintendent. It goes back to what Chief Marshall talked about. Is we are human beings. We do take this uniform off. We are individuals, and I do think Quarantine University does a really good job at balancing that. And a lot of these other platforms, when you think about social media, is it gives us a chance to show people who we are outside of the uniform. And I think one thing I always talk about, to my airmen and people I work with and coworkers and everybody that knows me is, the roots of Chad never change whether I take the uniform on and off.
Right.
But it can be a question mark sometimes of, okay, cool, I'm tracking who Sergeant Hardesty is, but who's Chad and what are your interests and your hobbies and different things like that. So, hey, man, you just got to stay connected, man, by any means necessary.
Yeah, it goes back to this concept that I carried for a while, where there are folks in management positions, leadership positions, and their mindset is always mission, and getting a specific task done. And maybe certain things they don't need for themselves to get that task done, but it would help out their troops to get the happy. So you could always say, yeah, all they need to know is how to use this equipment. But the great leader, the one that understands situational leadership, is going to say, you know what, for this particular person, they need more than just how to know how to turn that wrench. They need motivation in this manner. They need to know how to be coached in this manner. And I think we're learning that in like super real time. Like as this pandemic's taking place over the past 3 weeks, leaders, if they're paying attention, they're going to start noticing that what their folks are really interested in. And it makes it so much easier to connect with them when you can go up to them and go, hey, I saw your post on Quarantine University. That was pretty cool. Can you teach me more about that? Or can you? Yeah. It's just that weight in rather than did you get that task done? Did you get that checklist done? You're able to connect with them. Because like you said, if someone can connect with me, right? If I'm a young troop, I know my boss has my best interests in mind, not just if I can get the job done, but if he's checking to see if my family's doing okay through all this, how I'm doing mentally, and he's asking me about my hobbies and my interests, I'm going to work harder for that guy or that girl. So, yeah.
I think, man, you guys hit a great point on the character piece of it, because I posted recently on the Llama site about how, I've heard so many leaders talk about people need to take more ownership, but then they're not willing to invest, in that development of those people, right? So when you invest, just like you said, you're investing in that character of that person when you're investing in them, in their personal and professional development. And that's going to turn into ownership, right? That's going to turn into so much more. But a lot of people are looking just in 10 feet in front of them instead of the strategic view on developing people as human beings, which is just critical. Right. I mean, just like you said, Jason, if you develop a good human being, you're going to develop an airman, a great airman. Right. I mean, it's just part of the process. There's a correlation there. And I think that's so key. And what you guys have done with this QU and what you've been doing. And that's another thing that's really cool is you never know what everybody else is doing until you create a platform like this. Right. Now, everybody's like, oh, man, they're doing some cool stuff over there too, right? And you're like, I thought I was on an island over here, but no, we're not. We're all here together now, and it's just an amazing thing that you guys have created. And I know you guys are gonna continue to talk about how it's the movement and the people that are doing it, but I can't give you guys enough credit, your whole team, on bringing it together, because it wouldn't have happened by accident. I don't think you guys deliberately brought it together.
No, I think that's a good point. And, I think one thing that COVID-19 and this whole crisis is going to allow us to figure out is I like to use the word dependability. We don't remember the people that didn't show up. We remember the people that showed up.
Yes.
So, we are going to see a shift in leadership as we get out of COVID-19. And I'm willing to bet anything on it. Across the Air Force or across any organization, you're going to see the leaders that actually stepped up and said, you know what, like, I got it. I'm running a squadron, but I'm going to go down there and turn wrenches because that's what my people need. I'm going to go down there and be a cop, or I'm going to go help medical, or I'm going to go work in operations or command post. one of the mottos that we've been doing at Edwards Air Force Base is that nobody's good enough for any job across the table. And we have tons of leaders from airmen, NCOs, senior NCOs stepping up and doing jobs that they don't typically do, and it just goes back to dependability. They're showing up because there's a lot of people. Let's be honest. There's a lot of people. You're like, where is this person? And then COVID-19's over, and you're like, oh, okay, chief induction coming up. You want to run it? Okay, got it. Of course. You know what I'm saying? So, it's just one of those things, man. In time of crisis, this is where you really find out what type of leader you are.
Absolutely. So, what do you guys think happens after this? So, things sort of die down. We start to get back to normal ops. What happens with AF Quarantine University?
Oh man,
not that it's not going anywhere.
So I think the community has spoken. I think I do think that Chief Wright has talked about loving the page, and I think the hopes is that we work with half higher Air Force to hopefully be able to sustain it. And I think the one good thing about this page is it's not positional. So no matter where Chief Eisen goes, Chief Barnshaw, myself, Sergeant Fabian Guzman, wherever we go, the page goes. And I think, it's only going to get bigger. So we're only going to bring more people on the team to make it that much better, because let's be honest, we're four minds. And a lot of the stuff that we've done on the page has been because people shot me a message and said, hey, like, have you thought about this? I'm like, no, but I'm going to do it right now.
The one thing that I know us four can promise is that for us isn't going anywhere. So as long as, there's still a personal and professional development need and or opportunity, as long as I still got my lifelong learning llamas out there that want to keep pinging the page and providing that value to folks, I think we'll be there for as long as the Air Force and its members wants and or needs us.
That's great. Hey, Chief, real quick question for you. On one of your videos, I saw the 4 Lenses Unfolded book on your desk. What's your lens?
So I am. A lot of people are surprised, man, because I'm very EQ oriented. Everything. Gold. I'm a gold.
Okay, gold. Okay, got it. Yeah.
I'm so OCD when it comes to structure. Right. I play this very flexible person online, man, but you throw a little monkey wrench in my system, man. I fall apart at the seams.
You saw he got on the podcast right at 1:00. Like, not a minute after, not a minute before, right on time.
So Chad's the orange then? Is that what you're saying?
100%.
Oh, yeah.
I do have a little bit of secret blue.
Yeah. Oh.
I hit my feelers every now and then.
Yeah. I think Joe's our gold.
I'm green.
Yeah. I'm orange. Definitely orange.
Yeah.
The others fluctuate, but I'm definitely orange. Yeah. But hey, when I first took that training back in 2001, my orange was through the roof. I was on fire orange and had 0 blue, 0 gold, 0 green. And as I matured and moved up in the ranks, got more responsibility, you start to fluctuate a little bit. But I've always stayed orange. I've always stayed true to being orange.
That's your default. That's where you're coming.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
We used to teach that at ALS.
Mm-hmm.
I BS you not. I'm finishing up my master's right now, and one of the requirements for the master's was we just had to take the 4 lenses. So here I am taking 4 lenses all over again as a man. We're teaching this to our senior airmen. Right? That 4 lenses unfolded. I tell folks all the time, man, that's my Jedi mind trick book, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I've so since I've been retired, I've worked in different education fields, and that's my go-to for dealing with students, for dealing with staff. Yes. So we're gonna have to do a whole lesson or a whole episode on 4 lenses sometime.
I would love it.
For those people that don't know what it is.
Yeah, for sure. So hey, what do you guys? So what are the next big items that are coming up on QU? You guys got some stuff on the agenda coming up?
You see how the orange just threw that whole wrench into the conversation and went in a different direction.
So I think man, so I will say this. Probably one of the big things is we're in the works of looking to do a first sergeant symposium.
Oh,
Nice.
If I had to throw something out there, we haven't talked about it much, but we'll advertise through Quarantine University. Chief Pinheiro, the functional for the Air Force for First Sergeant,
Yeah.
he has reached out to the MAGCOMs and has said, hey, push out to the wings to be able to do something. I think he understands, and the Air Force understands that first sergeants are going to go down. They're going to catch COVID. We need we need temporary first sergeants. I think some wings are going to be really fast. Some have probably already done their symposiums. I think some are going to be a little bit slower because they're kind of, again, we talk about, mission. We're focused on taking care of our people. But we are looking to do a first sergeant symposium, utilizing our Edwards crew, and then reaching out to first sergeants across the Air Force,
Nice.
with the help of Chief Pinheiro. So if that was probably the one big thing, that would be it. And obviously we'll use that on a different platform, but use QU to reach out to everybody. And it's just valuable information. And we'll also tailor it to the COVID-19, because let's be honest, the same things you were learning as a temporary first sergeant or first sergeant diamond wear before COVID is a lot different than now. And I know Chief can speak to that.
Yeah, so and I think one of the things that is a huge task that we're trying to take on and make sure that we kind of see it to fruition so it can be value added, because a lot of the first sergeant symposiums and stuff have been pushed to the right, even or canceled altogether. I also think that what we're really trying to do is balance your Air Force heavy hitters, like your Chief Bass, Chief Wright, and all these, and bringing them on while also keeping the grassroots feel and allowing others. But I do like the interaction piece, right? So we'll continue to go after, some of the more senior Air Force leaders and bring them on and allow that interaction with the members, because let's be honest, they're normally traveling, doing Q&As and stuff. Well, that's all paused now. Well, people still want to hear from the Air Force leaders. So that's something that we're going to venture down. And also on the civilian side, I do think that right now we could be a little light on the civilian side of the house. So I'd like to pull in some civilian experts, somebody that can provide a different perspective for our members, because we all know as if you progress in your career, there is not a perspective out there that isn't value added in some way, shape, or form.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I think if civilian side, Whitney Johnson, we got her coming up on the 15th. That's another big one. She's a best-selling author.
Yes.
We've had and the thing that I love that Chief talked about is we're reaching out to a lot of people, but a lot of the people are just coming to us.
Makes it easy, right?
Exactly. It's like, hey, I like it. It started off us reaching out to people and trying to get the buzz going and keep things going. But now, like I said, people are reaching out left and right. And I think the one thing QU has done with the teaching portion and being able to bring content is now people are reaching out to us, and we have a lot of people networking and working with us. And so we just hope people keep reaching out. We do got a WWE superstar. I won't name him yet until he fully commits. But if I had another big, weird, crazy big one, we do have a former WWE superstar that is on QU. Maybe do your research between 18,000 people trying to find him.
Oh no.
but he's looking to come on there, do some fitness, some motivation. So
nice.
Yeah, man. So we got some good stuff coming, man. And people want the platform, man. We're willing to offer it up.
That's beautiful. So do you let me just kind of back up. Is there like scheduled, or do people just go on live, or how does it work with you guys as far as getting access to post something or present something on QU?
So right now we got a calendar, and so basically what we do is people reach out, I shoot them a link. It's real easy. They pick the day, the time, and then we just got an information, basically like a document. They fill out their information, what they want to teach, and then anybody from the team can go on and kind of knock out a poster, an advertisement. Obviously, I started off going on Google and stealing pictures, and then I realized, I said, man, I gotta actually start getting good at this, because it's really a product, people want to, they want to be attracted by, oh man, like it needs to grab attention. So I have spent hours and hours and hours on Adobe, Canva, and different things like that.
There you go, Canva.
So
yeah.
I did not have a craft in poster making it. I now do. So that is my quarantine plug. That I have.
There you go. There's the APR bullet right there.
So that's the amazing thing that this also creates, right? Because I know this has stretched me dramatically when it comes to the IT portion of things, trying to get onto these systems, right? So I mean, how much growth is going on just there from across the enterprise, right?
I just checked. We are recording still, so we're doing good, Joe.
Yeah, there might have been a glitch in there. We'll see what's up.
We didn't break that part.
Yeah, well, for sure. But cool, guys. Man, well, damn, I think it's about time to wrap this up, guys. What do you guys think?
Nah, man.
All right, is it another hour?
Nah, man. But, hey, I appreciate you guys allowing us on here to be able to, just have, man, great conversation. Like you said, if it wasn't for Quarantine University or any other platform that would have been created, and this is to all the great platforms we got across Facebook, the ability to connect. Like I said, this wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the quarantine. So it's amazing to be able to link up, network, and now have you guys, in our corner and be able to push some content out. And I appreciate you having us, and it's been a pleasure.
Well, I tell you what, as a retiree, I really appreciate what you guys are doing. I left the military, great terms, had a great career, and then as I'm further away, most of the stuff that you see, like I said, there are other pages out there where it's just negative, and I'm like, it can't all be like this, is it? And so it's, you know what I mean? Like, I got a kid who's 13 years old. In 5 years, he could be joining, and my lifelong dream was, hey, you're joining the Air Force. And then for a while, I was like, nah, bro, I don't know. But this reinforces that, hey, man, it's a good place to be. It's a good, people are taking care of each other, and every organization is going to have their challenges, but it's good to see that people are coming together in a time where we could just all shut down and bury our head in the sand. People are coming together and doing something great.
And it's funny. I think you bring up a great point, right? And I think society as a whole, right? We've gotten to a point where we think things are so negative. And I don't really think it's like that. I just think that negativity for the past handful of years, probably more than a handful, has just been now what you're starting to see is positivity be a little bit louder. And,
absolutely.
Places like, or forums like QU, the Llama Lounge and stuff like that, the collaboration piece, this positivity is going to start becoming louder and louder and louder. And what you're going to start seeing is, hopefully, that negativity is going to start being kind of dampered down a little bit.
Yeah, it's gonna be cooler to be positive, than the dog pile on each other. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, man, thank you guys. Thank you to our special guests, Chad Hardesty and Jason Barnshaw. Thank you for all you guys are doing out there, man. And let's just I know, right? Let's keep growing, guys. Appreciate it. Llamas are out.
All right, peace out, guys. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Thanks for listening to the show. We'd love for you to connect with us at www.llama-leadership.com and on Facebook at facebook.com/Llama Leadership and also on Instagram at Llama Leaders. And a big thanks to Mike Whitmer for the music. To check out more of this stuff, go to soundcloud.com/Mike-Whitmer. Thanks again. See you on the next episode.